Hi everyone, Toothany Much Tano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of this new album from Big Thief, Dragon New Warm Mountain, I Believe in You.
What's it called?
Dragon New Warm Mountain, I Believe in You.
A dragon what?
Dragon New Warm Mountain, I Believe in You.
You believe in the what?
Dragon New Warm Mountain, I Believe in You.
A new mountain, a dragon, woo-woo?
Dragon New Warm Mountain, I Believe in You.
A hee-hee-ha-ha, dragon what, a woots-a-woo?
Dragon New Warm Mountain, I Believe in You. It's a brand new album from indie folk and indie rock outfit Big Thief. Their fifth to date, if I remember correctly, and it's been a minute since we've heard from the band. Like many groups on the indie circuit during the pandemic, Big Thief pretty much laid low during much of that time. Who could blame them without the ability to tour? On top of that, they kind of spoiled fans in 2019 with 2 records released in that year, the second of which left a far more positive impression on me than the first. Frontwoman Adrienne Lenker also dropped 2 sister solo albums in the year 2020 that were pretty great. James and Buck, members of the band, also kept pretty busy with their own solo material too. But now they're back in Big Thief mode, obviously, and it seems they wanted to make a big return with 20 whole new tracks on this record, which I was kind of hesitant going into because I do like Big Thief, but do I 80 minutes like Big Thief? Plus, albums of this size tend to be super thematic and conceptual, and there's a whole series of risk factors that come into play with that. But in a way, I was refreshed to find that Dragon New Warm Mountain is a double album that feels almost half its length. The record's actually kind of fun and maybe even a little easy to listen to, as end to end it's packed with all these punchy and direct blends of indie folk, folk rock, art country, with a few semi-psychedelic experiments in the mix too. In many ways, I think this LP takes off from where Big Thief left us on their Two Hands record, but kind of dives into that direction as boldly as they possibly can. This LP also strikes a really good balance between consistency and variety, featuring some of Big Thief's best songs to date too, like SPUD Infinity, Red Moon, and Blue Lightning, all of which are really wild, backwater country and folk, with lots of colorful backing instrumentation. Lenker's vocals provide a smart and kind of eccentric twang to the whole thing. Meanwhile, songs like Simulation Swarm, The Only Place in Certainty, feel a lot more modern, pulling from some classic indie folk acts such as Elliott Smith, Modest Mouse, Bonnie Prince Billy, especially in the rhythm section and guitar work. Not to mention 12,000 Lines is just about the best Joni Mitchell worship I've heard in a minute. For simplicity's sake, we also have some very stripped back acoustic cuts that could have fit on Lenker's last couple of solo records. Dried Roses, Promises of Pendulum. Of course, on these tracks, Lenker's vocals and unique lyricism shine, like the communication and emotional blocks on Promise being likened to hearing fantastically quiet things or impossibly building these natural wonders such as rainbows or a meteor shower. These pockets of the record contrast nicely, of course, with moments where they're diving into some really rich sonic experimentation, like Time Escaping, for example. The quirky arpeggios and lo-fi beat loops on this one create a total groove-gasm, which gives way to these heavenly rushes of vocal harmonies. And Flower of Blood is a pretty effective combination of indie folk aesthetics and hazy 90s shoegaze, in my opinion. Meanwhile, the subtle and dusty lo-fi drums and eerie ringing keys and guitars on Blurred View really crawl into your brainstem, along with Adrienne's vocals being so close they're almost ASMR. And I have to mention Wake Me Up to Drive. The peppy Casio drum machine beats on this one, along with the accordion, sound like the result of some kind of random instrument generator, but Big Thief somehow makes it work, sounding like one of the coolest and weirdest open mic performances I've ever heard. And also, let's not forget extra instrumental touches on the LP here and there, such as the woodwinds on No Reason. So good. Lenker's performances and songwriting and lyricism as well, that I have to mention, are such an anchor throughout this LP. Of course, her talents have already been proven, her character's already been proven on previous Big Thief records, especially her solo stuff. But on this LP especially, I would say they are elevated with all the backing instrumentation to a height that they've never been at before. Whether you're talking about some writing from her that is just unbearably cute and heartwarming, like I Want to Be the Shoelace That You Tie on Blue Lightning, the poetic portrayals of unity and oneness at the atomic level on the song The Only Place, the heart-wrenching calls for love on Love, Love, Love. Simulation Swarm features one of the quickest and stickiest vocal melodies I think Lenker's ever penned. Plus the way it unfolds into these longer melodic strands around the chorus and features this warm rush of instrumentation pictured along with imagery of embracing. It's beautiful. Plus, going into each of these tracks, I never really know what the point of inspiration or what the personal or contextual reference point is going to be, so it kind of makes each track an adventure. Now, of course, with 20 songs on this project, there are going to be a couple cuts that I or you find a little underwhelming. For me personally, it's spots like the opener, which in my opinion is uncharacteristically bland instrumentally and even lyrically to a degree, given the quality of all the other tracks on the record. Even though I think Big Thief wanted to let fans and listeners in easy on the track, in a way I kind of prefer that they would have just let it rip from the jump. The track Little Things offers a lot of noise, a lot of chaos, a lot of colorful, hazy layers instrumentally, but a strong melody and song I don't think really shines through all the clutter. And there are a lot of things I like about the Wintry title track on this LP. There are some spots where vocally Lenker reminds me a bit of a Stevie Nicks, even Joanna Newsom to a degree. But as much as I enjoy the vibe and the aesthetic, the progression doesn't really do all that much for me, especially toward the end, which I think the song offers maybe the most inconclusive finish of any track here. But with all that being said, with these being like the low points for me, that's only like the case relatively. The quality gap between these tracks and every other song here is not that great, and generally I think the songwriting, the production, and instrumentation on this project is fantastic. Again, for 20 freaking tracks, I really get the sense that I'm sitting here in the middle of a weird campfire folk jam situation like is portrayed on the cover. I just love it. I think Big Thief showed a lot of muscle, a lot of character, a lot of emotional potency, and just a lot of creativity on this project. I think this record very clearly makes them one of the best that indie folk has to offer currently, and everything about this record is so great you don't really have to dig that deep into it to understand what makes it so fun and beautiful and really relaxing, I think, to listen to. Like, everything that's great about this LP is just so on the surface. In a way, you know, I love this kind of record because it just kind of makes my job a little easier, because, you know, it's not like the beauty and the magic of this LP is like obscured by some kind of weird concept or some, you know, difficult to digest sound that needs to be like expounded upon or anything like that. It's just like a really heartwarming, emotional roller coaster of a little folk record that just has so much good material packed into it. It offers so much good stuff, and, you know, it's a bit of a casual vibe too, in a way, so it's not even like you need to like pressure yourself into hearing the whole fucking thing in one sitting. You know, each of these tracks I think can be pulled out and enjoyed on their own, or they could be listened to as a whole, and still there be a lot of merit to everything the track list is offering in a larger macro picture. It's just a great album. It's just a great freaking album with a lot of good freaking songs on it. Feeling a strong 8 to a light 9 on this one. Transition, have you given this album a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like. Please subscribe and please don't cry. Hit the bell as well. Over here next to my head is another video that you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Big Thief, forever.